Hey, welcome back to the artist always known as Alejandro. It is me, Alejandro. Today we're doing something a little different. I am going to show you two different renditions of this illustration I did of the Fiends nurses. They were in the show Fiends at Busch Gardens Hallow-Scream, and I'm planning to go back this weekend to Busch Gardens Hallow-Scream. Haven't been there in years, and the first time I went was 2019. And it was the day after Halloween on November 1st. And I saw this show and was like, wow, what a spectacle. And these sexy nurses were quite entertaining to watch, dancing around, doing their thing, scantily clad. Who needs their shot, right? So I wanted to make my own little homage to them and do a drawing. And I did, and this is what came out. These nurses they all have the pink hair and these skimpy little outfits with the red crosses and the leggings and the bosom showing with the pink. So I decided to take it upon myself to do a little drawing myself of them. I took some photo references of stuff I took pictures of and other pictures of the nurses because I wanted to get the outfits right. And did it and put it on a t-shirt through Redbubble. That shirt wore down after a few years. I don't know what happened there, but this was the original drawing, and I really wanted to wear this to Busch Gardens Hallow-Scream and never got to. I made this design, I think in 21, after I had tried to go back to Busch for Hallow-Scream on opening night because it was free to past members, and it was swamped. And we only got to do 2 houses, and my wife didn't want to see the show again, so like, oh. And so that was that. And, that was debating about going back, but I want to go by myself. But as you've seen in my Halloween Horror Nights videos, you can go by yourself if you want to go and do it. So what's the whole point of this? I wanted to do a new design and wear this shirt when I go to Hallow-Scream this year. But I like the 3 nurses here. However, anatomically, artistically, they're not really the best. I mean, look at the eyes on this one. Things are a little off. The eyes are too big in relation to her face. This is not Alita Battle Angel. And this one, she's not too bad either. But the eyes a little big. Expression is kind of there. I'm not really digging the feet. Something seems a little weird. And this one, the eyes are a little weird. The mouth is very strange. And this pose doesn't really mean anything. Some of it's okay, but it just wasn't happening with me. I still like this come hither pose on the center one. And still like the syringe in her hand. They have syringes of shots they serve at these shows. I don't think this show's at Busch anymore. But I still want to wear it as an homage to this. But I didn't want to use this. So, this is what I did. I changed a few things. Worked on the eyes, worked on the anatomy a little better. Changed this one's position. Made it a little more sassy. A little more of a kind of a naughty little look on her face. Tried to get my eyes right here. And changed her a little bit. Trying to make things a little more anatomically accurate. Kept a lot of the same stuff. I changed her position. I wanted her kind of with her hip out, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, this one's pretty much the same. It's just her face is a little more pleasing. This one's got a little more sass. Like, hey, what's up? Change the body position, hand on the hip. I said, this is what I want to try out here. Wanted to give this a little more something. And then I kind of kept the same position with the leg, but changed things a little bit more in the body position, obviously, since she's facing towards us now, revealing a little more cleavage. So what I'd like to do is kind of break down how it started and how I got to here. Okay, but we do have to go back to the beginning. Now, in the Fiends show, they usually have 4 nurses. I tried, and it just was not working. I was trying to do one kneeling, another one with her back, and it just didn't fit this dynamic, so I opted for 3. I know it may not be the most purest move I've done, but I wanted 3. And I did want the one doing the come hither thing in the middle. I thought it was really cool. And the syringe. They don't really carry syringes in the show, but the people in the aisles do. I thought it would go. And it goes with my saying, who needs their shot? Like, oh, they're the ones to deliver it to you because they're dead sexy. But I had to come up with the idea first, so I'm going to get rid of some of these. I did start in the pencil realm. Ooh, that's funny. I'll just leave this here. Let me see what happens if I do that. See, I kind of originally wanted to have one on her knees kneeling, but I'm like, no. Then I thought, okay, the cheeky one, because there was an online photo of one of the nurses in this exact position. So I said, let me use that. Then the one with the syringe. I'm like, okay, I do want her showing a syringe in her hand, because it's the whole thing. Who needs their shot? And then, let me move this around here. Whoops. We're over here. Nurse, made her nurse number 1. Why? Put her in the middle. I actually did take a picture of myself in this position. It's a very strange position because I was doing it all from imagination, but I said, I really need some perspective on how forward the knees would be as you bend. Where does your hand lie? How does your finger look? Your hand closer to the camera as you're doing the come hither thing. So I did pose in that position. And then so I just started drawing over them as is. And you look at these, they're very different from the final result from my first attempt, right? Close, but she had a little more, some of the looks were a little more sultry, I suppose. Well, let's break it down. I think I started with the syringe nurse first. Oh, she's nurse number 2, as I'm stating here, huh? And so, well, here we go. We do this, we got that. Now, there it is. I like to do most of my times phases. This is what she looked like initially. Let's make it bigger. So yeah, I did this and stuck with it supposedly, and that became that. Of course, there's plenty of layers here. You can see I made a pink clip layer to below for my line art. Because I was like, well, I could leave her hair black lined, but you know what? Let me color that in with a pink to make it different, pop a little more. So that was directly above that to fill in just her hair. And then obviously I do my usual things where I like to color the skin first, and I would start also with, I'm not going to do her neck because I don't want these layers to touch because I'm going to do shadow. Remember that. I usually do the face, and then I put this one first because this is going to be a layer in front of that, and it's closer to the camera. And then I added my shade for the pink eyeliner, maybe a little shadow where her hair is. I can add some shadow here. And so on and so forth. Then the next layer was her lips. This layer of her skin. Oh, I even did a legging here. I did legging there too. Interesting. And then the pink there. Oh, what is that layer? I don't know which one this is. But then I made a layer just for the crosses. Trim, I mean the trim. Well, I think it was the crosses too, let's see. Yeah, so it'd be the outline of the crosses and the trim on her little apron there. I used a different pen too. I using my G pen for everything else, but here I think I just redid this and I shouldn't. I think I used the textured pen. Initially I thought I used the pencil, but I think this was the textured pen for the trim and these crosses. When I draw them, I would do the lines completely and just erase. And that's their little outfits. And then I would just color in those as needed. Then I started doing the white right below them. All different areas to cover her up. I mix and match, so you're not going to want to you got to remember, when you're coloring a layer and you think you're going to shadow and you do any shading, you do not want these to all be on the same layer. I kept these separate just because I know I was adding shade under here. And I did the opposite foot there because, I don't want this to blend into that. And it benefits me later on. Same thing there. I did some strange one here putting those in separate layers. Now the syringe, I had to make its own layer and put it there, and I had to break things down a little bit because these are behind her fingers, which is okay. I'm not 100% sure what I did here. Fill the liquid in the vial, and then the handle, the plunger is, I think, right there with her fingers, a separate layer. So that's this nurse. Well, let's see. Let's bounce back to this drawing. Whoops. Let's keep her. We need her. So as you can see, I kept the general shape of her. Changed the nose. I changed the lips. Changed the eyes. Went added a little bit of a kind of like a flirtatious raised eyebrow, down eyebrow. Made the lips a little more realistic. As you can see, they were a little cartoony and big. And anatomically, I did a few adjustments, made her face a little more rounded. Hand position is the same. All of this is the same. I think everything else in her body is the same, and this is when I started changing it, when I decided to make her. See, here it's just straightforward. Like, that looks like a very boring position. What is this? I think here I might have been having the idea of her legs forward, but as you can see, let's go with this. Wanted her hip sticking out. And you know what? I posed for this one too. I was having the hardest time trying to understand, when you have a raised hip, what does that do to the leg behind it? Where do the knees line up? So yes, I used myself as photo reference. You will not see that picture. Not if I can help it. And then adding just some of these extra lines, I just added this to show where her leg would be, and her little stockings that come up this way. Little hint of her pink undies. They do have pink undies in the show. Using the gray just to add accents and shadow. Not too much line work like I've done in my usual drawings. I just didn't think it fit the gals. Just a little bit here, just obviously accenting those. I think I change your boobies a little bit. Not really. Maybe I should want more. That's it for the syringe nurse. As I was redoing this, I did do some of my new methods to get eyes lined up and the nose. Partial Loomis method, partial Poppy method. I really was pleased the way she came out this time. Okay, now we're going to nurse number 2, the Come Hither nurse. So compare this to the pencil sketch I did and then just kind of traced over it. Didn't translate well. I mean, look at it. The eyes, her eyes look like they're kind of off. Looks like she's kind of asleep. I wonder nobody bought it. Well, what do you mean no one bought it? I have my products on Redbubble. I will put a link down to the new version of this, so you can purchase the new version of this. However you want it, on a t-shirt, postcard, print art, you can do it. But anyway, so yeah, this is how she started. I was pleased with the way the shape came out. I mean, based on me posing in this position, this is how the finger looked. The Come Hither was nice and lined up. Obviously, I don't have boobies, so I had to imagine how they would look leaning over. And just this little curved line to kind of show a bend. And then the little ruffles in her apron to show wrinkles because she is bending back. Hands on the over the knees and the little leggings here. Now most of the nurses, their hair isn't usually as long as nurse number 1. They're above the shoulder. They usually hang. They don't go that long. This is usually how they have them. I mean, the lips are just ginormous. It just, ugh. Its chin seems kind of strange to me. So I basically kept almost everything with this, except the face. Right over here. This took a long time, a very long time. These eyes killed me. I spent so much time trying to get them symmetrical and getting that right look. I mean, even now looking at it, it's good enough. Some of it, I do want to have like showing a little bit of the eyelid. But she's kind of adding a little smolder to her. Even her eyebrows, I used that textured pen again. Kept the chin, I think. Look at that. You can see we did this, and I actually on all 3 of them I added just, you can see it, just a hint of this pink in the cheeks, because they do have that in the show. They did that. But I just maybe added some more accents on the folds and here to just show some shading. A little more shading here so it would kind of pop. And that's basically it for nurse number 2. Moving on to nurse number 3 here. This, I call her Cheeky. That's how I labeled it. Also remember, it's best to have, you can see, separate folders. You have so many layers. Just separate folders for each one, and then you know which one you're playing around with and working on. It really helps keep it organized. So there's a folder one there, and you just rename it however you want. I put N Cheeky, or Nurse GT. So yeah, this position, I thought it was cute, but again, the eyes are too big. This mouth makes no sense. I think her head might be just a little too big. The hand is there. And you can see I did follow this pencil sketch pretty much to the letter. Just couldn't seem to get the face right. Me tracing over my pencil is tricky. I've heard there's new pencils that, stylus pencils, that they add the sound effect of what it would sound like for a pencil touching paper. I can try that out. But there she is, and then when I redid this, I'm like, I really never liked this. It just doesn't seem flirty enough. It just seems kind of cheesy, and I didn't like the face. So, total revamp. I think the only thing I really kept was maybe where the face lined up in the hair in this. Everything else, I think I kept this too. Let's see. It's close, but a little different. Yeah. A little more pop and kind of buried the other foot in the background. You wouldn't see it. But so, you know, I really want her towards camera. I really want to show her sass. And of course her chest. That's like the thing. Like, oh, these nurses had to have those outfits created just right to show just enough and never pop. I mean, they have these wigs on tight. Some of the performers did the aerials. That's the cartwheel without their hands. These stayed on. I don't know how. They must have a lot of pins and things to keep it in place. So I wanted to make her a little more flirty, a little more of a sassy smile. Give her deeper blue eyes and make it a little more somewhat realistic. She doesn't have much of an upper lip, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be, all of them have to be full lipped. But then, yeah, I said, let me turn her body to this position. I think I looked at some photo references. I did not pose in this position. Just to let you know. But since I've been practicing drawing women lately, it helped. I kept these lines because I liked the way the details just kind of showed off her body. And a little hint of her pink undies. And more of the gray. You know, gray is the best shade to make. In this case, make the white pop. Just added these layers, and then it's a dark one there. And I was very pleased the way she came out. Looks the way I wanted her. This one, I think, here it is right? This it? Yeah. So as you can see, I did my little new square face guide. Did these, and then things up this way. So it worked out much better. I think her face is way better. I used red lines because I was keeping up with the red trim here, right? Just why not? It's funny. Same thing applied to these. Almost forgot that these red stripes go all around the costume. Get rid of that. And just add the other ones back in on both, all of them. Let's get rid of that layer. Then yes, you know, I obviously needed this signage of who needs their shot. I just used this clever little font here, but I didn't want them just standing in space, so I kind of maybe took a sample of this and darkened it to like a purple. I thought that'd be a nice backdrop for them. Do the airbrush behind them. Same for them. And a little more here because of her elbow. And that was it. You know, that was... Let me actually go back up. I'm going to show you the phases on both. The original one. So I showed you that for the first nurse. Actually, let me make this smaller. I showed you that for the first nurse. And this one in the ink phase. Then I was starting to show a little more phase work of the third one. Yeah, I changed her hairline. Look at that. I had it going in that direction. It's supposed to be, on all of them, it's more like a straightforward bang. See the bangs? And I did that, started adding that. There's your colors without shading. There they going up to these. So here it was. I worked on the face. There was an initial thing where I was trying to have her with her leg back. Like, this doesn't make sense. Her nose and eyes were way too far apart. My attempt at doing the hip was not working. I had a little, this is when I revamped her. She looked too evil. Look at the eyes on the one I call Cheeky. Then I got the hand on the hip, just the design. You see I didn't add fingers yet. I was just trying to get the body shape, make sure the hand wasn't too big. Here you can see I've changed the nose. Then I think at this point, I think I knew where the leg was. I'm not sure if I had taken my pose. Change a little bit of this on her, as you can see. Color in the middle one. Add a little bit more line here. That's when I changed nurse number one's nose, the syringe nurse. And then I finally got the middle nurse's eyes right, and her eyes lined up where I wanted to. Her fingers are in there. Okay. Just a few extra changes, they make a difference. There we go. So I started adding, I think initially I drew her nurse one, the syringe nurse, her apron was way too long. You know, these outfits are usually skimpy. You can see more leg. There we go. That's when I decided, hey, there we go. I'm going to change that up a little bit. Make it higher. And then with the shade, as you can see. Now I printed my shirt without the background. I don't know if the background caused stuff to happen. When I printed the shirts, their pink was a little more lavender. Even on the new shirt, it looks lavender, but there's a little more pink this time. Because I was afraid if I put this background in there, it might just do the same thing, make all the pinks purple because it's reading this instead of the pink. My shirt looks nice. I will show it to you at Howl-O-Scream. So there you have it. My Fiends nurses. Well, they started back in 21, maybe 22. And the revised version, 2025. The Redux. Remastered. Much better, I think. Hope you think so. I know this is a very different video. I really didn't show you how to draw them. But I think you still can. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Play around. Get your own versions of these nurses. They're pretty awesome. Pretty nice, I must say. An improvement. I'd order a shirt like this, and I did already. Haha. I'll be wearing it that night. But thanks again. So yeah, this will actually drop on Halloween this year. Hey, what a great way to spend Halloween. Checking out my Fiends nurses that I illustrated for you. Yeah. You can always check out other videos of these nurses in dancing. I'm playing it on YouTube. It was a fun show. There's some great music, great dancing, and some funny moments, a lot of pop culture references and shenanigans. A little more adult themed. So be aware of that, as you can probably guess by the outfits. Anywho, so once again, happy Halloween. And thanks for joining me on this little special rendition of my nurses then and now. Nothing too fiendish about these nurses. they're quite delightful, and I hope you enjoyed following along and seeing how you can revise your own work in any time in the digital realm. If you learned a new particular skill set or particular set of skills, however you want to word it, you can do amazing things, especially on this All Hallows Eve. Thanks for watching on my favorite holiday, and I will see you on the next video. Until then, this is the artist, always known as Alejandro, saying Happy Halloween and keep creating.